Long before X and Pearl was the hottest horror movies in the fucking industry, Ty West had directed a plethora of, I wouldn't really say low budget, but minimalistic horror films that really fed into the fears of what it takes to be a filmmaker. He had The Roost from 2005, The Innkeepers, and a bunch that spanned the genre of horror. But today on Phantom of the Indie Review, I'm going to be talking about a 2009 little cult classic entitled The House of the Devil. The movie opens up with a nice little title card giving us a little statistical fact about the 70s and what people believed in for cults and devil worshipping and all that freaky stuff. And then we get a nice opening shot to a lady standing in a home as it slowly pans in on her, and it reveals that it is Samantha, played by Jocelyn Donahue, and she is trying to rent a house. And she's a young college student. Horror icon Dee Wallace, who plays the landlady, has a brief scene, and she's like, I want to rent this place to you, bro. And then she's like, let's get this place. Let's get this bread. Oh, by the way, I'm severely poor, and I can't pay the deposit. And Dee Wallace is like, okay, well, just give me the rent by Friday. And Samantha's kind of in a pickle, so she decides to pull a little phone number off of a bulletin board because she wants to make money by Friday. It's like, you're going to rent this house and you don't have a dime to you. So she pulls off this thing that says babysitter wanted, calls it on a payphone, and receives a creepy response from a dude who's like, I really want you to babysit for me, shorty. And she's like, say less. And then, she goes to a pizza parlor, meets up with her friend played by the lady that made Barbie, Greta Gerwig. That's cool to see the filmmaker Greta Gerwig inside of this movie as an actress. Now, well renowned for like Lady Bird, Barbie. She almost wrote the script to Oppenheimer, but didn't get the call. But it kind of pissed me off low-key because they're just sitting there in the pizza parlor, and obviously, like, actors aren't really supposed to eat, but for the scene, they're just sitting there chatting with a fucking piece of pizza on the table, and they're not eating it, and she's complaining about how broke she is and how bad she wants to be paid by Friday, but she's wasting this whole slice of pizza. It's like, bitch, why'd you buy that then? And then she's like, yeah, I pulled a phone number off for babysitting. That's the gig I want. And then the girl's like, yo, there's, like, other jobs around town. She's like, I'm banking on the babysitting job. It's like, you're not eating the pizza, you're not trying hard to get this job, but you really want this apartment. Like, you don't want to talk shit about millennials, but these bitches in the 70s be crazy. And type shit for the type shit. So Barbie director is like, we can just call my papa, he'll hook us up fat. And she's like, I'm straight, like, I can do this on my own. Long story short, they end up visiting the dude, played by Tom Noonan, who's such an eerie actor, such a great cast to portray someone that is coming off sinister but could be harmless, and they go to visit him about the babysitting details. Tom Noonan, you gotta love him from RoboCop 2 and the Monster Squad, such a masterpiece. So they're visiting former Monster Squad vet alumni, and he pretty much is like, hey dude, this like isn't actually a babysitting gig. I need you to watch. I can't remember actually specifically who it is. I think he says it's either his mom or his sister or someone, but he explains that she's like really old. And then the main character, Samantha, is like, I'm not doing that. He's like, I'll give you fucking $100 more. $200? And then she's like, fuck you, asshole. $400. And then right off the bat, you're like, he's obviously creepy and setting you up for something wrong, but definitely now more so than ever because you're trying to rob this old man blind. Really rude. And this movie has a slow burn to it. It is filmed beautifully. It is very 70s influence, but not in like a paying homage cliche way. Like, I feel like the technicality and like editing and structure of the movie really shows that it looks like it was made in the 70s, even with that grainy filter they put over it, or maybe the camera they used that had that grainy look, really translate into looking like a movie that was actually made in the 70s. Like, it's not like, when they make these 80s slashers nowadays and it just has a stupid glitch screen or the shitty filters. Like, this movie looked like it was actually handled back in that time. She agrees to do the job, and then the night comes to babysit, and they're just slow hints at, hey, there's going to be an eclipse, there's going to be a full moon thing up in the sky, shit's going to get brazy. Her friend drops her off, and this is where the movie kind of picks up a little bit. The friend's sitting in the car when this creepy dude comes up to her, and she's like, oh, you scared me. They start, bantering, and he's like, so you're not the babysitter? And she's like, no, I'm just the babysitter's friend. And right as she says that, he blows her head off. What the fuck? That shit, like, first time I saw that, it shell-shocked me. I was spooked. And then the movie kind of stags a little bit because it's just her in this creepy house exploring. But it's really setting a tone and a vibe. Like, I wouldn't say it's boring as much as it's like cementing an atmosphere. But, you know, kind of random things come along. Like, she orders a pizza. The guy says the pizza costs fucking $8 in 1970s and she's going to pay with 100. She plays pool. And then all of a sudden she gets severely spooked, uncomfortable, and just like the pizza guy rings the doorbell. She runs up to the door and she goes, "Keep the change." So again, you need this money desperately for your apartment, but you just gave homeboy a $100 bill for an $8 pizza. Someone kill her already. And then honestly, it slowly builds and unfolds eerie stuff. She goes into the bathroom and sees like a bunch of hair in the tub, and she's starting to connect the dots that something isn't right when she's in the basement and someone peeps through the door and they're trying to break in to get her. Then she falls asleep and wakes up. This is where it fucking picks up heavily. She wakes up in a pentagram, tied up with circles, with candles burnt and a gag in her mouth, and in comes a bunch of cloaked figures. The dude that shot the bitch. And then this creepy, hooded older lady, which I'm assuming she's a devil, the devil or a demon. I mean, the movie's called The House of the Devil. They don't really explain too much about what is going on. Like, you kind of paint your own picture with it, but it was cool. And then from there, it's just a bloodfest. Like, she breaks out, fucking slits one of the dude's throats, sees her friend's head exploded on the ground, falls into a pile of blood, gets chased around the house by the dude who hired her to be the babysitter, Mr. Ullman. Concludes with her running out of the house into a cemetery when Ullman ultimately admits, he's like, "Hey, you were the chosen one to do the devil's work." And the whole time she's like tormented, like the last 20 minutes, she's having like these chaotic visions, spurts, little hallucinations. And then he's like, "Yo, the devil's in you already, honey. Like, you can't do much about it." She holds a pistol to him in the beautiful lit cemetery. It's a great cinematic scene. And he's like, "The moon's out and you're the one." And then she aims a gun at him and then turns on herself, blowing her brains out. Fuck. And yeah, you're like, bro's like, "No, the devil ain't got me today." Cuts to, I'm assuming the next day, the next day, and she's in a hospital bed, laying there with like a fucking like wrap around her head. She survived. She's sleeping, and the nurse comes up and puts her hand on her belly, and she goes, "You're gonna be fine, the both of you." Cutscene. I mean, this movie is a slow burn, well-paced, beautifully written, phenomenally shot film. Like I said, which gives you the opportunity to piece together what you may from it. And all in all, I think it's a great film. It's definitely an acquired taste. It is not going to be for everyone, but if you like creepy, satanic, and eerily paced, then this is a movie for you. Ti West, golf clap, my guy. Check it out. I watched it on Peacock, but you can probably watch it anywhere else. The House of the Devil, 2009, Ti West. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, hit that little ding-a-ling button that harasses you saying, "Hey, it's me, I'm here." And I'm going to say it one time. Give me a hell yeah for horror. Cult of Chucky is a real cult. Y'all like Chucky?